And he says that he did what he had to do.
It's part of an ongoing capital murder investigation where we had 2 bodies.
I'm terrified.
Okay.
Capital, that means penalty, right?
Meet 34-year-old Amanda Novaire and her husband Adam Williams. Just hours ago, this killer couple was caught on camera after they took the life of 2 innocent people.
They were seen on camera crossing the border with the butler's truck and RV.
And despite their face plastered on a highway camera, these 2 think they can get away with it all. But piece by piece, Amanda and Adam will realize that with the evidence they have left behind, escaping a double homicide isn't as easy as they think.
I'm not going to say anything without a lawyer.
He will be spending the rest of his life in prison.
You're going to have to walk the yard in a prison somewhere.
I think your story is very accurate, but I think you're leaving out something. Because the only way this works is if you tell me 100% of the truth.
On October 23, 2019, 5 worried children went to the Kleberg County Sheriff's Department after not hearing from their parents for more than a week. They reported 48-year-old James Butler and his ex-wife, 45-year-old Michelle Butler, missing, setting off a search that would quickly turn into a full-scale investigation. The couple, originally from New Hampshire, lived a free-spirited RV boondocking lifestyle, traveling all across the country. Even at the time of their disappearance, they were enjoying themselves while camping in the remote North Beach area of Padre Island. But what they didn't know was that their journey would end in tragedy. On October 27th, a deputy patrolling Padre Island noticed a woman's piece of clothing buried in the sand. When he got closer and took a better look, what he found was every family's worst nightmare. Michelle's body was discovered half buried in a sand dune, and beneath her was James. Both had been shot to death. There were no weapons, no witnesses, and no immediate clues to work with. However, one detail stood out. The RV the couple had been living in was nowhere to be found, and investigators quickly realized it hadn't simply disappeared. It had likely been stolen. The RV's license plate was placed on high alert, and it wasn't long before it came back with a hit. The vehicle was spotted on cameras heading south, eventually crossing into Eagle Pass, Texas. When deputies reviewed the footage, they immediately recognized the driver. Behind the wheel was 33-year-old Adam Curtis Williams, a man with a long criminal history, and he wasn't alone. Sitting in the passenger seat was his wife, Amanda Novaire. The couple had fled the country, believing that crossing into Mexico would keep them out of reach. But they weren't aware that crimes committed in the U.S. don't simply disappear at the border. They can still be extradited back to the country if they have committed a murder. The final breakthrough came in early November. A tip from a family friend in Utah, combined with an AP wire bulletin circulating in Mexico, pointed authorities to an RV park in Jalisco where Adam and Amanda were living at the time. When authorities confronted the pair, Adam was taken into custody on the spot, while Amanda surrendered without resistance. Both were then extradited back to the U.S. and placed in separate interrogation rooms, where detectives first began with Mr. Serial Criminal himself, Adam.
My name is Edward Rosen with Texas Rangers. What's your name, sir?
Adam.
Adam.
David Farias, Kleberg County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, Adam. Obviously, you know you're under arrest. You're here at the jail. So we're going to talk to you a little bit. We're going to ask you some questions. You're under arrest on a warrant, theft warrant out of county here, and I'm handling the investigation related to a capital murder investigation. But because you are under arrest, you have certain rights. I'm going to go ahead and read you those out of Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. You're not from Texas, I understand. So I'd make sure you want to know those. So you understand your rights. Great. Okay. So, Adam, we're here. Obviously, you were arrested yesterday on the warrant, and that warrant's issued out of here. It's part of an ongoing capital murder investigation, or at least a homicide investigation where we have 2 bodies. So what I want to do today is I want to talk to you. I want to tell you to tell me, because we know a bunch of facts about the case, but I've never met you before. I've never seen you. I want to know how you got to be in our investigation here today. So can you fill me in? I don't know your story. So can you tell me how we got here today?
I got a question.
Absolutely.
Capital, that means death penalty, right?
Well, so capital punishment is the death penalty. The case, we call it capital murder because in our Texas Code of Criminal Procedure and in our penal code, the way you make it to capital is a whole list of stuff. Because 2 people were killed in the same criminal incident. We believe they're killed in the same criminal event, then that would make it capital. Also, because we think a robbery occurred at the time of the murder, that would make it capital. You're not being charged with that. You're charged with theft right now. But that's what the investigation is at this point. Obviously, we have a homicide that occurred, and we're solving that, and that's what I actually want to talk about. But right now, you're being charged with theft, and I need to know how you relate in the overall scheme of what happened. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say anything without a lawyer. I need to talk to a lawyer.
Okay. Do you have a lawyer that you already hired?
No.
Okay, so we'll have one appointed to you. The court system will appoint you one when we magistrate you this morning. Okay. I just want you to consider one thing. And we're not going to ask any questions, just so you'll know. But I know you've got a couple of warrants, and there's a couple of other things going on in your criminal history, and you've been to prison, so you're probably going back to prison. And I just want you to make some good decisions in your life when you talk to your attorney, because the next time we talk is going to be post-indictment, and your attorney's going to be here, and he's going to be representing us. And in that time, I want you to think about it. You're going to have to walk the yard in a prison somewhere. So I just want you to think about the way you handle yourself on this one. Is it going to be a guy who said, I don't know anything about it, and we had to prove a case against? There's a guy who said, you know what, this, and give yourself that credibility when you get there. I've considered all the options that's probably going to happen, and I just, for your sake, I want that to be one of your things you consider, because you understand what's going to have to be when you have to walk the yard again. So
It doesn't even matter that Adam makes the smart move and asks for a lawyer, because the only place he's heading to is prison. And not just because of these murders, but because of his long criminal history. Back in 2010, Adam was convicted on federal weapons and drug charges and served 8 years in prison. He was released in late 2018 on federal probation, but that didn't last long. Just a year later, in 2019, he was charged in Utah with violent crimes, including sexual abuse and domestic assault. One incident was so violent that police had to use a taser to stop him. By the time the Texas murders happened, Adam was already a fugitive, wanted by Utah law enforcement on multiple outstanding warrants. He was also dating Amanda, his partner in the murders, who even tried to help him flee the country to escape his charges. And while Amanda put on a show of loyalty at first, that dedication didn't last long, because the moment she sits down in the interrogation room, she rats out Adam almost instantly.
All right, ma'am. I know we've already met because we've been riding on a plane together for a little bit, but my name is Edward Gross. I'm with the Texas Rangers. Okay, and your name, ma'am?
Amanda Navarre.
Amanda Navarre. So, Amanda, you're in agreement today is, holy cow, it's Friday, November the 8th at 12:20 a.m.
Okay.
Also present in the room is Lieutenant David Mendoza from the Claiborne County Sheriff's Office. You met him too. He was on the
Yes.
airplane with us when we came back. All right, Amanda, you know you are under arrest right now
Yes.
for theft, a warrant that was issued out of Claiborne County, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You understand your rights?
Yes.
Okay, and knowing those rights, you still want to talk to me, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, Amanda, you were here on a theft warrant.
Yes.
And you know that you were actually arrested in a little town in Mexico
Yes.
a few days ago, and got here and we picked you up in the airplane. And we're here now. But the theft warrant is based on a large investigation we're doing that involves the homicide, the murder of 2 people that we're currently working. And so you're not being charged with that, not being accused of that, but your information on the crime you're accused of is relating to it. So what I want to do is I want you to first tell me, I want you to start, you are married to, what's your husband's name?
Adam Williams.
Adam Williams. It's Adam Curtis Williams, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Adam's also in custody, and you know that. You're arrested together. Okay, what I want you to start with, we need some history on you and Adam and your relationship. So can you start with when you first met him, and then we'll work our way forward. And I may have to stop in and out to get clarification. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about that.
So I first met Adam actually through Facebook.
Okay.
At Facebook and POF. I
Okay.
don't know if you.
Plenty of fish.
Yes. And he sent me messages, and I seen his pictures, and he was covered in tattoos, and I was like, that guy's nothing but trouble, and so I ignored him for a long while, and then a friend of mine actually knew who he was and said, I think he's a good dude, and so I talked to him, and like the first message that I sent to Adam, like he was persistent, and he's like, well, I want to meet you. And so the very first day of us even talking, he ended up coming to my house in Smithfield. Like he was so adamant about it. Like that's his presence. He just says something and you just, for some reason, you just give in. And I didn't even know him. And I had a couple of friends at the house though. And so I felt comfortable. And he came over and I met him, and he's very he's very like suave, I guess. He's very charismatic. And so all of his tattoos and everything, you kind of like see through all of that and you see like this other person and everything. And so he actually came over with his cousin, and we all ended up hanging out like the entire night, and I made him dinner and everything, and we hung out, and he went home, and the next like few days we talked off and on, and we started to kind of like form a relationship. Like,
So, and I don't mean to interrupt, and I know
Yes.
we looked we looked into this. So the time you're still married to your ex-husband,
Yes.
that y'all are separated at this
Yes.
time. So about what time was that? What roughly?
around the end of February.
End of February of this year, 2019.
Yes.
Okay.
Things moved quickly, it seemed. When we met, he had like this rule that he could see and date anybody he wanted, but I wasn't allowed to. Like, that, I guess, came from spending as much time in prison as he did, but I didn't.
How long was he in prison?
10 years
10
is
years.
what I've been told, and I believe round about 10 years for he'd been asking me to move in with him, and I didn't want to because I had my house, I had my space, I had my daughter.
That's true. Amanda has a daughter, Ryan, and despite knowing that Adam was a convicted felon who served 10 years in prison, she decided to move in with him, dragging not only herself but also her daughter into this mess. And although she thought that was a good decision at the time, she surely ended up regretting it.
At the time when you said he was recently out of prison, he did not have warrants for his arrest at this time.
No.
Okay.
No.
So tell me kind of how that progresses into how we get to those situations.
Well, Adam, when we met, he liked to drink, and when he would drink, he would black out and he would get violent. And there were a few times that neighbors like heard us fighting, and I would try to leave. I remember the first time, well, not the first time, I remember the actual first time that he smacked me. And that was before I sold my trailer, actually. And we were at my trailer at my house, and we had been drinking. Ryan was in bed, and I was messaging somebody on my phone, and he took my phone from me, and he got upset about one of the messages, and me, and he threatened me and told me that he should freaking make it so my face was unrecognizable, and it terrified me. And I honestly, I waited because he held me in the bedroom, and I waited until he kind of let his guard down, and I grabbed my daughter, and because I lived in a trailer park, and I ran to my neighbor's house. And he still had my phone at that time. And I was terrified, but I didn't want the cops to come and arrest him because I knew his history, and I didn't want him to get in trouble. I continued to date him, and that was the first time, and he promised me that nothing would ever happen again. And then honestly, all the other times after that, they kind of, I don't know exactly the progression or what order they go in. Some I do, not too long after another incident, I was at his house, and once again, we had been drinking, but I got more cautious, and I wouldn't really drink because I knew that he had a temper, and so I'd try and be careful. And he got upset over something that was on my phone once again, and he smashed my phone, and I went to go leave, and I had made it out the front door, and he grabbed Ryan, and he shut the door, and he locked it. And I was standing outside, and I was screaming. I could hear her in there screaming. And because he knew I wouldn't leave my daughter. He knew that, nobody's gonna leave their child, no way. And I didn't have a phone. I didn't have my keys. I didn't have anything. And once again, I didn't want him to get in trouble. Like, I knew that in the morning when he sobered up, he'd be back to himself. And that he probably wouldn't remember these things. And so, you know, of course, I waited at the door and I banged on it, and he finally, well, it was only like a minute, and he let me back in, and he tried to, like, calm the situation down. And I stayed. I didn't leave because actually he wouldn't let me leave. There was another time that there were a lot of times now that I'm actually thinking about it that I was gonna leave, and this was before I had sold my trailer, but I was basically living with him, and I'm not even sure what set him off. This time he'd been drinking, but something I'd said or done or something on my phone, he's extremely jealous person, extremely, set him off. And he, in the kitchen, he picked me up by my throat and he held me up against the wall, and I was like kicking against him so hard because he was me. And when I kicked, my leg smashed into the stove and I had a bruise like half of my thigh because of it.
Despite being in a toxic relationship, Amanda gave Adam a second chance simply because he promised he would never touch her again. But unfortunately, he did. And Amanda wasn't the only one who suffered his violence. Before Amanda, Adam had been in a relationship with another woman, Stephanie, who later filed a police report after he viciously attacked her. And what's shocking is Amanda knew about this as well, which makes it no surprise that she is now sitting in an interrogation room confessing to his every wrongdoing.
It was nice. It was lonely because I didn't have any friends anymore. Like, Adam made me get rid of all of my friends because most of them were male and he didn't approve, and I didn't talk to anybody. It was lonely because I was used to having Adam there, and so that was hard. But I didn't want to betray his trust and talk to any of my old friends or anything like that. And so it was good. I was so good to him.
So y'all aren't married at that point. You're still just dating.
Correct.
Okay. So he picked up charges. Did you know when they became warrants, or did he know that when he was wanted?
In regards to the most recent, when the officers came and tased him and he fought back, yes, because the day we got married, we didn't do a wedding or anything. We had a few friends over to the house, and we just signed our marriage certificate and then took it. So what happened is we signed our marriage certificate, had a person that, what are they called, that can legalize the marriage or whatever. He was there, and when Adam went to go turn the marriage certificate in and take the gentleman back that was the wedding officiant or whatever, the police showed up and said they had a warrant for his arrest. And so, and literally as he's coming back, he sees that there's cops outside the house, and he turns around and drives off.
Their relationship was stuck in a tragic loop. Amanda wanted to leave him because of his violent behavior, but every time Adam came back with an apology, she stayed, over and over again. And regardless of that, Amanda should have realized he was capable of doing the same thing he did to Stephanie, because later in their relationship, he did something even worse to her.
Now, prior, there was an incident that was kind of sitting in limbo, I guess, that Adam, we were just kind of waiting to see if they were going to file charges on. and that's the assault
Okay.
charge. I honestly, like, I had sold my place and I had moved in with him, and as I was unpacking, a couple of officers came to the house and they said that they wanted to talk to Adam about something, and he didn't have a warrant or anything, but the gal, she had pressed like a no contact order, I guess, or protective order or something like that, and they wanted to talk to Adam about the incident, and I had no idea, and I asked him what it was about, and they told me, well, you'll need to talk to him about that, like, we can't disclose that. And so I called him, he was at work, and he started to kind of tell me, like, you know, well, because of this and this and this, and he told me we'd talk more about it when he got home. And when he got home, like, he actually had, like, all the paperwork and everything, and he showed it to me, and I remember, like, I was so mad because he had known about all of this and he didn't say anything to me. Like, and it was a big deal, you know, and I read her statement and everything like that, and it just, like, I know what I read was true, like what she stated, and like I don't know that like firsthand. I just know that because, I mean, he'd done the same thing to me.
So what did she say, and what had he done to you? What are you talking about?
So Adam used to, he actually, like, I'm not even gonna say used to. Sometimes I get really, like, aggressive, like, really, really aggressive. And you weren't allowed to, like, say no. Like, if you did, he would either, like, try and be like, oh, no, you know, just do this, and honestly, like, so the incident with this gal happened, and I looked at the date, and what she had put in her report. So Adam and we had gotten into a fight earlier that night because what he did to her, he did to me. Like, same exact night.
Same day.
Same day. Why I didn't do something different about all of it. And that, honestly, that wasn't even, like, close to the worst, like, when it comes to that.
Comes to what?
That one wasn't the worst.
So what would you consider the worst?
One night, Ryan was staying at Adam's aunt's, and Adam had been drinking that night, and, like, I could just feel, like, tension, and I didn't want to drink and let my guard down. And so Adam had been drinking, and Adam ended up, like, taking something, like, I don't know what it was, and, like, substance-wise, I have no idea. what it was, but Adam, like, became this, like, he made me have him, like, I don't even know how many times that night, and not nice. Like, I mean, Bella, our dog, she tried to attack him numerous times that night. Like, I even, because Ryan was gone, I went down and tried to sleep in her room, like on her little teeny tiny bed. Came down, and like, if I tried to deny him or say no, like, he would hurt me, or he'd like degrade me and say just really mean and awful things. And like, in the back of my head, and I just kept being like, this is it, I'm done.
There's a reason Amanda didn't want Adam arrested, even after enduring extreme abuse. It's because she had already sold her place and was living with him. If Adam went to jail, she would have nowhere to go. So what did they do? They decided to head south with a truck of their own and try to flee the country. Meanwhile, James and Michelle had no idea what was coming. They could have never imagined what would happen next, because Amanda's decision didn't just destroy her own family's life, it also ended James and Michelle's.
So you get to Texas, you're on the beach. Is he working, not working?
Nope, not
How
working.
are y'all affording? Like, how are you paying for gas and food and all that kind of stuff?
We're not. We're like, we're out of funds. Like, everything is just kind of falling apart. Like,
Is he committing any crimes to pay for this stuff?
as far as I know, no.
Okay.
No. So, probably, like, I don't know. We were at the island for, I don't know, you're only supposed to stay for 14 days, but I know we were past that. I don't know, like, how many days past that we were, but we were. And, I get these, like, when I met Adam is when they started, and like, I hate to blame anybody or anything, but I get, like, basically these boils on my skin, and they don't go away. Like, I have to take antibiotics. They just will not go away, and I've had them tested and everything, and they're antibiotic resistant staph. And I just kept telling Adam that I needed to go to the doctor, and at this point, like, he kind of had it in his mind that we were going to go to Mexico. And he's like, well, I'll take you to see a doctor in Mexico. And I'm like, no, like, I have to see a doctor, like, here.
Is he not wanting to go because he doesn't want to get caught? He doesn't want people to know y'all are here? Are you using your ID when you go places right now? Your real ID?
I have used my ID the entire time.
Is he using his ID?
He never did anything. I was the one that always did everything.
So, think back though, because when you checked into the park there, you used a different name. You wrote it.
Yes, but that was his thinking behind that.
What name did you use?
I want to say, I think I used Tori Williams.
Who is that?
So Tori is actually an ex-girlfriend of his.
So he's wanted. He's violent. Did he have weapons?
Did he have weapons?
Yeah.
At that time, I mean, there were always knives.
How about guns?
At that time, I don't think that there was. But
Okay, hang on. Because when you're saying that time, was there a gun later? Or a gun earlier? What gun?
I'm not too extremely familiar
With guns?
with guns. I'm not. But later, somehow Like, I do know a gun was acquired.
What does it look like?
It's a smaller black handgun.
Okay.
Like, and I know this because, like, I had seen it,
Mhm.
and, like, there were times that he had, like, left it in an uncomfortable spot for me,
Mhm.
and I would move it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So Ryan didn't get it, obviously. Now, so when you say small black handgun, do you know the difference in a revolver and an automatic?
Yes, that I do.
Is it an automatic or revolver?
It's not a revolver.
It's automatic.
Revolver has the
The wheel,
Yeah,
cylinder,
it's
so
not
it's
a-
back and forth.
Yeah.
A lot of times people refer to them by their caliber. They call them a 45, a 9, a 40. Did he use any of that terminology? Do you know what caliber it was?
I don't know what
How
caliber.
big, in your hands, how big do you think the gun was?
Well, like I said, I had moved it, like that.
All black?
Yes,
The grip was black also?
yes, all black.
Okay. Did you ever see the magazine out of it?
Yes,
So you saw the size of the bullets?
yes.
If I showed you different bullets, would you be able to tell me if it looked like the same ones?
I might be able to. Yes, actually.
Okay, so this is a 45 bullet. Is it that big?
No, I don't
Okay,
think
so
so.
it's smaller than that. Maybe something more along this size here.
That I think.
Probably about this size.
Mhm.
Okay, this is a 380, so something
Okay.
along that size. Oh, no, we're talking, so make sure you see it. Okay, so how many bullets do you think it had in it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Would it be
Honestly,
a-
like,
Would it be a little bitty magazine that looks something like this?
yeah.
Or would it be a little
was-
bit bigger that looks something
No,
like this?
no,
So
no.
something like
Yes.
this. Okay, so like a little single stack.
Yes.
Let's see, like a little single stack 380 magazine. Okay, so where did you get that gun from?
I don't know.
You don't know.
It was honestly like acquired when, I think, truthfully, when I was at the hospital.
The behavior describing the comes up with a gun. In my mind, I don't think he's buying that. He's committing crimes. Are you agreeing? So here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to limit your participation. If you know he committed a crime, if you helped commit a
No.
crime, hang on just a second. If you helped commit a crime, that's fine. We need to know it right now. We don't want to find it out later.
No,
You know what I'm
of
saying?
course.
So
No.
stealing,
don't
selling drugs.
I don't think that he is, and if he is, I don't have any knowledge
Was
in
he
that.
using drugs at that time?
He ran out.
So nothing else.
Not
Okay.
that I seen, not that I knew of.
Are y'all hanging out? Are you associating with any people on the beach? Do you have any friends or people
no.
that stop by at that point?
No,
Not at all.
no, there were people like that would stop by and ask like how the tide was.
Right, but you're not. So he wouldn't be getting his drugs or his guns, something from somebody that y'all met on the beach that he's hanging out with over there.
Not that I know.
Are you with him most of the day?
Yes, but there's times that, like, either I'd be sleeping or I'd take Ryan and we'd go look for seashells. It was like our thing, and it got me away from him. And
So how long would he be away from you?
in cases like with me being out, like looking for seashells, truthfully, like sometimes I would walk up and down the beach for a few hours with Ryan.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
that was the only good thing about
The
being
beach.
on the beach.
So he
That was
he
it.
had a couple hours he could go talk to somebody. He came up with that gun somewhere. He didn't have it with him in Washington, right?
No, he didn't. That I do know.
So it showed up there. Okay. Now,
Is there any way we can take a moment?
absolutely.
Is there any way I can have a cigarette?
Let me
Please.
let me find out if the deputy who had cigarettes is still here. If we're going to take a cigarette break, we're actually going to turn the video off,
Okay.
and then we'll come back. So you go to turn the video off for just a little bit.
That's fine.
Continue. You good with that?
Until now, Amanda has confessed to almost everything, and most importantly, she's told the truth. However, the part about where Adam got the gun, that was a lie. Now, she asks for one final break, one last moment of freedom outside prison, as she knows there's still one thing left to do: reveal the full horror of what she witnessed on Padre Island with complete, brutal honesty.
Yes.
All right. So, where were we? What were we talking about when we left off?
We were talking about how Adam obtained the gun, and the reason I wanted to stop is because what I was starting to say wasn't true. Like, I know where he got the gun.
You do know where you got the gun.
I do know.
Okay.
We went to a gun show here in Texas, and we were there for honestly hours, literally asking everybody. Like, he was asking because I didn't want any part of it, because I don't like guns. I'm just not comfortable with guns. I haven't ever been. And
So
nobody
you said
would.
in Texas, you mean while we're here at the island, the gun shows around this area?
Yes.
Okay.
I was at a small, kind of like Shriners type thing.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yep. It's a Shriners.
Okay.
We know what you're talking about.
Okay. And we went in there, and literally, like, he played it off that he wanted something for me. And so I was the one that was getting the gun, and we looked at so many, and literally, I swear we asked everybody in there, like, and nobody would sell a gun to somebody with an ID out of state.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and finally somebody, like the very last person that possibly could be asked, did. And everything was just kind of fuzzy at that point, because I didn't want that to happen. Does that make sense? Like, every part of me was hoping, like, and I got upset, and I went outside. I took my daughter outside of, like, the convention, and, like, just stood out there because I didn't want to be there anymore, and I wanted to leave, and he made me go back inside, and he was trying to be so nice and so calm about all of it and everything, and we went back inside, and we got something to eat, and asked a bunch of others, and finally one said that they would, and, like, the transaction was so quick. Like, that's why I'm not even honestly sure what the gun was, because
So you gave them your ID?
Gave him my ID. He took a picture of it.
Did you fill out a yellow piece of paper, a white
Nope,
piece of paper, anything?
Nothing. No paperwork. Nothing. And Adam handed him the money.
How much did he pay for it?
I don't remember.
Okay. So we're getting some really important details coming up here, and I want you to concentrate very, very carefully on this.
Okay.
You were in a 1999 Chevrolet and a 1974 Prowler trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the truck and trailer we arrested you in.
That's not.
How did we get the other trailer?
So, honestly, we had stayed at the one spot on Padre Island for past the 14 days, like, well past the 14 days, and we drove to the south side, and that's when we were stopped.
Okay.
Because we weren't wearing our seatbelts.
Mm-hmm.
And we were looking for a new place to move the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
A new place to park it. And, like, I was getting really sick because of my leg. And, like, I'd had enough. Like, it had been hell. And so, honestly, I would lay down in the trailer. I know that's not legal, like, you're not supposed to do that, but I would lay down in the trailer, and, like, I know that he would drive.
While he was driving, you were asleep.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and I did that, and I'm not even sure. I think, like, we looked for a spot for, like, 2 days, and every time I'm like, I've had enough. And Ryan, I think she had enough too, because she would actually just lay there with me.
The fact that Amanda involved her daughter in all of this says a lot about her parenting, but in the end, she regrets that choice and tries to make things right, a move that would only make Adam even more furious.
We didn't have anywhere to go, and so, but I I remember like he stopped and Adam was in the bathroom, and like I was doing something in the kitchen. Honestly, I think I was throwing up or something because I was still. It took quite a few days for this one to clear up, and then it's hit me again in another spot. But he said that we needed to move, and so at that point, like, we didn't really like have any plan at all. And I told Adam like that we needed to leave. And I remember that we got into a really, really nasty fight. And so there wasn't anybody camped up from us because I took Ryan and I had put her blankets in my backpack while Adam was in the bathroom. And I started walking up the beach. And like I literally like I didn't know what I was gonna do. Like I didn't have a plan. Like I had had enough, and I just wanted to get away. I wanted to get away from all of it. I wanted to get away from everything. And so we're walking up the beach, and honestly, I think that Ryan and I had been out there walking because we walked all the way up to the dock. The
Bob Hall Pier.
Yes, yeah. We'd walked all the way up there. And during that trek from where we were all the way up, somebody stopped and asked if everything was okay, and I asked them if they would take me to the nearest women's shelter. And they Googled it, and they said it was like 30 minutes away and that they couldn't because they didn't have enough time to take Ryan and I there and then for them to get back. Like, I think they were on their break or something. And I was mad. I was really mad because it took a lot of guts in my eyes for me to actually ask somebody to take me. Because I feel if that person would have, I would have finally gotten away. Like, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but they didn't. But he gave me $20 and I took Ryan to the pier and I got her something to eat.
Okay, so you're at the pier. It's cold.
It's cold and I go out and I start to walk back.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes Adam with our truck and trailer. And he's being so mean and so angry. And I didn't want to get in with him. Like, but I did. I got back in the truck. And we went back and we stayed at the laundromat that night because we didn't have any other place to stay. And it just, I think that night, because, well, it was that night that Adam got the new truck and trailer.
When you say got the new truck and trailer, what do you mean?
So, this is hard.
I understand Super important.
I know. We get to the laundromat and Adam says that he found a new truck and trailer because our truck was literally dying. Like the motor was blowing up on it.
When she talks about a new truck, what she really means is that Adam stole James and Michelle's truck, but only after killing them and dumping their bodies. Still, that detail was unclear because their bodies were found in a shallow grave, which would have taken time to dig. So detectives couldn't completely rule out the possibility that Amanda might be hiding something.
I was like, okay, what do you mean? And he was very vague, and he's just like, well, I know where a new truck and trailer is, and like, you don't need to worry about it. And I didn't quite understand, you know what I mean? Like, later, so we're there, and like, I didn't press the matter or say anything else about him saying about a new truck and trailer. And then he says, well, I'm gonna unhook our trailer and we're gonna go for it and you're gonna drop me off. And I asked, I says, why? And he's like, well, I need to go pick up the new truck and trailer. And I'm thinking, what in the hell? No. I didn't think that Adam had done anything bad. Adam said that he had like a new truck and trailer and everything like that. Like, I'd never seen Adam be violent against anybody but me, if that makes sense. And like, that story with the gal and like, his violence had seemed more in relationships than anything. And so I didn't think of anything.
Unfortunately for her, that wasn't true. Adam was a violent man, even getting into physical fights with other prisoners while in jail. It got so bad that when he was asked about his time in prison, he said all I wanted to do was work out, get high, and hurt people. So either Amanda was lying to the detectives about this, or she genuinely didn't realize just how violent he really was.
So when I dropped him off to pick up the truck and trailer that he said he had found, and everything was dark, I did down, and I came back, and I parked, and like, I know that he removed some things from the trailer. I don't know what. Like, I do know that. Like, my assumption, it was because honestly my main concern was Ryan. Like, but I thinking like the bedding, like that type of stuff, like I honestly, truthfully, I didn't ever see anything, and that's like, I swear on my daughter's life.
Okay,
like
let's talk about he removed something. Okay, so how far away are you parked?
So the trailer is right here, and then the other truck is right here, and then I'm parked down. Like,
Could he see you?
Yeah.
So he knew you were there?
Yeah.
Okay, he knows you're there.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's not trying to hide from you what he's doing.
I don't think so, no.
Okay. And in your mind, you're trying to not see what you're seeing at this point.
In my mind, I'm not trying to see anything, honestly.
Okay.
And
So you said he removed something from the trailer.
yes.
When you say remove something, is he carrying a box? Is he dragging something? Is there something over his shoulder?
Honestly, it looked like he was dragging something.
Okay. Now, if I'm dragging a towel, that's one thing. If I'm dragging,
Oh, it was like, that's why I'm thinking like the bedding and everything, because it was bigger.
was it heavy?
I think so.
Okay. Okay. In your mind, you know what he was dragging, right?
When I look back now, yeah.
What's he dragging?
I think he was dragging one of them.
Okay. We know that too. In your mind, you're blocking out what he's dragging. He's dragging a body out of there. Okay? All right, Amanda, let's talk about what happens next. And it's going to be important to me. He drags whatever he's dragging out, and then where does he go?
Goes up in the dark.
Up, you mean
Like up in the dunes.
in the dunes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then what do you see?
Honestly, I stopped like looking.
Okay.
I stopped.
So do you think, because you're an intelligent person, you're the person, you're like, oh shit, he just killed these people? You're blocking this out, I don't want to see anymore? Did he tell you to wait for him while I go do this? Did you know he was
I don't, honestly, I don't, I think that he didn't kill them while I was there,
Okay.
to be honest, like,
Were you close enough you think you would have heard him shoot him if he had shot them?
yeah,
Okay.
because, I mean, that it's loud,
Okay.
like, because when we got the gun, he fired off one round to make sure,
Mm-hmm.
like, that it worked, and it was so loud, and so, that's why
Okay.
I didn't think,
Okay.
like, I
Okay.
mean, I
Looking back on it, that's what you think he was doing, is taking a body out of the trailer. How long was he gone from the time he dragged it up, you said, into the dunes?
mhm.
So how long was he gone from the time you dragged it up into the dunes until you saw him again?
I don't know, because
No, so here's the difference.
no, like, I wouldn't look.
No, so I'm not
Does that
asking. I'm not
make
asking you to
sense?
tell me like he was gone a minute 42 seconds. I want to know, was he gone long enough that he just walked up there and walked back, or was he
No,
gone for a while and then he
it,
came back?
it had to have been a while.
Did he make multiple trips?
Yeah.
To the dunes. What did you see him carrying?
Uh,
You saw something important in your
I-
mind right now. What
I
did you
didn't, no, I didn't. It was similar to the first thing.
Okay,
Like, I didn't.
so he's dragging the second thing.
Mhm.
Does he make a trip after that?
Well, he hooks the truck up.
Does he make a trip to the dunes? Does he go back and forth another time after he takes it to them? The two whatever she took.
After the two, no.
Do you see anything else in his hands?
No, not that I can remember, because honestly, like, I didn't
So I want to ask you about.
want to look.
Does he have a flashlight?
No.
A stick?
Like, I know he didn't have a flashlight because I would have seen it, and it was extremely dark. Everything was so dark. Like, there
Okay.
was no lights.
What about a stick?
Um,
A shovel? A bucket?
no bucket. There were shovels, but there were shovels on the outside, on the outside of the other truck, like, leaned up against it. And so, like, I literally, I didn't want to look.
Okay,
And so, no. So, like, I know that he moved shovels, but I don't know when.
You unload the stuff. What does he tell you? So, I understand you're scared of him, but there's some sort of conversation because he has now upped the ante on what y'all are doing wrong. So tell
He
me.
doesn't really say much.
But you ask him about it.
And he says that he did what he had to do
Okay.
to get us a new truck.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay.
And I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say.
Amanda knew everything from start to finish, yet at first, she tried to hide it from the detectives. Instead of turning her husband over to the police, she went along with their plan, the one they had already agreed on, fleeing the country to escape the charges. But once she was caught, she seemed to think that confessing to everything might earn her a lighter sentence. That, however, wasn't the case. Amanda eventually pleaded guilty to 4 charges: murder, theft, tampering with physical evidence, and unlawful possession of a firearm. She took a plea deal, which landed her a 20-year sentence. Adam, on the other hand, pleaded guilty to capital murder to avoid the death penalty and received a life sentence. In the aftermath, not just one family was destroyed, but two. James' family and Ryan's as well. Now Ryan is with a family that is raising her properly. As for James and Michelle, they simply met the wrong people drawn to their well-maintained RV. And in order for those culprits to get what they wanted, James and Michelle had to give up their happy lives. Thank you for watching today's video. Whether you're new here or have been with us for a while, check out one of the craziest cases I've ever covered right here, or one of my newest uploads right here.